Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're new, welcome. I hope you like what you see and maybe consider liking, subscribing. Those of you that already have, thank you for your support. So as usual, we're going to get right into it. So today we're going to do some more ammunition testing. We're going to do a little further testing. If I've posted my Tele ammunition video before this, there's like a little hint on this video. So we're going to be testing some modern military ammunition against steel armor, or basically steel targets, see if one penetrates a little bit better than the other. The biggest one that we're going to be doing obviously is going to be 7-in-6 from 5.45 by 39. The others that we're going to be doing are going to be some 5.56 loadings. So those modern 5.56 loadings that we were talking about are going to be these here. This one here, a lot of you guys are going to be familiar with. This is actual Lake City, so this is truly military surplus. This is loaded with the SS-109 projectile, so this is M855 ball. If you don't know what all those numbers mean, M855 basically just indicates that it's military loading for 62 grain. The SS-109 projectile is the infamous green tip. So despite what a lot of people will tell you, green tip is not steel core. It simply has a steel penetrator in the tip. It's not even solid. It's almost like, think of an ice cream cone or something, and it's pointed end, you know, at the end of the bullet, and so it's hollow. It just helps go through light armor a little bit better. The next one we're going to be doing, or one of the bigger ones, is the Spicy Boys. This is M855A1. If you're not familiar with M855A1, so the M855 should indicate, yes, this is already a military loading with a 62 grain bullet, but we have these tungsten penetrators here on the end. So this is supposed to go through harder armor a whole lot better, but we're going to see. So the main rifle we're going to be using for the 5.56 testing is my 14.5 inch, you might as well say it's basically a URGI kind of thing. The rail is not exactly the same, so you clone correct guys, don't freak out. I'm not saying it's a URGI. But either way, this one is a 14.5, as mentioned before. The reason for that is a standard barrel length for the M4A1 in the US military, so our velocity should be exactly the same. The rifle, obviously, that we're going to be using for the 5.45 will be a 16-inch barrel out of my Saiga, which is Russian, so that's about as true to the actual thing the Russian military will be using as we can get. So yeah, if this does not perform well, we have another rifle we can try the 5.56 out in. That rifle is my M16A2 fixed carry handle. So this guy has the true 20-inch barrel as Stoner intended. So this thing is going to be getting basically mock Jesus velocities. We're only going to bring this thing out if the 14.5 just is not doing as well as the 16-inch Saiga with 7-in-6. And if all rifles are performing well, we have got a thicker steel target that we can test these things out on. So first steel target on the chopping block is this old, basically this is my first steel target ever. That is AR500. It is rather thin. It's about 3/16, which is really what commonly you'll see in AR500 armor, which I don't recommend. You can already see kind of why. This thing's had a pretty hard life. But this will be the first one we'll be testing out. First thing we're going to do is just test some normal ammunition that is lead core. Okay, so we're out here at about 20-25 yards. I've got that steel target leaned up against my tires. We are going to be shooting from behind a barricade just in case we see any sort of ricochet, because this isn't actually the safest thing, so I don't really recommend it. But our first round we have is going to be M193 ball. So that is a 55 grain 5.56 loading. It's just a typical lead steel or lead core. The the Saiga, sorry, it's going to be loaded with Barnoul, which is, again, it's just 60 grain lead core. So nothing special with either one of these. So here we go, M193 ball test. Here we go. All right, definitely got a hit. So now, Barnul. Try and hit in a different location. All right, let's go check the target. I don't think we went through on either one of those, so let's just go see. Okay, so over here we have our M193 ball hit. Didn't do much. There's a slight dimple, but I will say the 545 actually has a little bit better dimple to that. Who knows if this is any indicator of what's coming next, but next thing we're going to do is going to be M855 versus 7N6. Okay, so here we've got our M855. We've got a little bit of a dimple, definitely more impressive than the M193. Here's our hit from 7N6. Honestly, they are about the same. I was kind of expecting the 7N6 to go through this, but obviously it didn't. So let's paint this back up, go on to M855A1. Spicy boys, M855A1 out of a 14.5. Here we go. All right, good solid hit. Since we already know that 7N6 isn't going to go through it, I don't know if we should shoot another one, but you know how we do around here. For the sake of science, let's give it a shot. No pun intended. Really good solid hit there. Let's go get a close look. Okay, so here we have this crater from the M855A1. And then here's again our hit from 7N6. You can still feel a little bit of a dimple, but that's one hell of a crater from the M855A1. I honestly expected the 545 to do a little bit better, but we have still not punched through this. So you know what we got to do? We got to break out the carry handle. All right, we got the 20-inch barrel out here. So going from 14.5 to 20, we should see a pretty significant velocity increase. I'm gonna say on average you're up around 300 feet per second more. And that's honestly what kills steel armor, especially, I mean, even the AR500. So again, we're gonna start with this M193 ball, which it should be going 3,200-ish out of this barrel. So I'll honestly be surprised if we don't get a hole punched in here. Here we go. All right, good solid hit. Let's go take a look at it. Okay, so we have yet another crater. This thing is bulging out the back. In fact, I think it even cracked it. So I'm not surprised. I honestly kind of expected it to go through, but that just goes to show what that extra velocity from that 20-inch barrel can do. And just like I said, it was going Mach Jesus. So I'm going to paint this thing up. We're going to go back, and then I'm going to shoot both M855 and A5A1, and then we'll see. All right, so as expected, the old M16 is doing the Lord's work. We've got a round of M855. The very next one will be the 855A1. Pretty good solid hit there. Oh, not surprised. So we have the M855A1 hit, or sorry, M855 hit right here. We've got a little bit of a dimple. I would like to point out this one up here where it literally cracked the steel. that was M193 ball. So that was just a mild steel core. And then this is the one with the steel penetrator, did less to this steel target than the lead core. So keep that in mind. I really have never been very enamored with the regular M855 ammo. It's usually pretty inaccurate. Well, I should say it varies by batch. You might get a batch that's really good, and you might get a batch that's really bad. Most of mine have been pretty bad. Right here, we have got the M855A1. It went right through it. So, again, 20-inch barrel, just camera shutting off again in heat, but as I was gonna say, that 20-inch barrel, just as Stoner intended, is out here doing the Lord's work. All right, back here in the barn, give my camera a chance to kind of cool down a little bit. But since we did have a penetration giggity on the 3/16 steel with the M855A1, we're gonna go to a 3/8 thick steel target. So this target is generally rated for 308. So, and as you can see, this target has also had a pretty hard life. But yeah, we're just gonna get into it. But this time we're only gonna shoot M193 ball and the M855A1, since those performed the absolute best out of all the ammo we've tried today. All right, back at the barricade, as you can see, first round will be M193 ball. Next one, M855A1. All right, pretty good hit. All right, and another pretty good hit. But as I usually like to do for the sake of science.
Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
Let's go ahead and smoke another round of 7 and 6 into this thing and see how it does. I would like to point out again, this thing does have a pretty aggressive break, and you know, the A2 has the A2 flash hider, noticeably less recoil from the AK. Okay, so here is our M193 55 grain. Pretty decent little dimple, nothing spectacular, nowhere near what it did on the other target. I think that was because, again, the target was quite thin. But we move over here, that is a huge crater from the M855A1. Let me see. No really noticeable deformation on the back, but still pretty impressive. And then we have 7 and 6, same thing, didn't do a whole lot. A little bit closer look for you guys. So here is the M16 with M193 ball. Here is the M16 with M855A1. And here is 7 and 6 from the AK-74. This is on the 3/8 inch thick target. Now, we've got M16A2, M193 ball on the 3/16 target. So this is the other one where it almost broke through with that same ammo. So this is part of the reason why I really like M193. But here we've got the M16A2 with A5A1, and that just smoked right through that. So there we have it. There, you saw the results for yourself. The M16A2 with the Lord's intended barrel length is the king of the hill.
Take it out on your ass, I'll tell you what. Yeah.
Without question. I honestly expected the 7 and 6 to do better. I've seen it actually. Some of those holes in the small target or thin target were put there by 7 and 6 before. So I was really surprised to not see that. I think maybe I was shooting from a little bit closer, because I remember I accidentally got some 7 and 6 mixed with some other ammo that had the same sealant, so I didn't realize what I was doing, and it just, as you can see, it went through it like Swiss cheese. But from 25 yards, M16, I mean, even just one M193 ball, just a 55 grain, even that almost smoked right through it. But the M855A1, oh yeah, went through it like butter. And it made a pretty good impression on the 3/8 inch target. So just goes to show that velocity can really make a difference when you're talking about 5.56, because that's really what this cartridge has going for it, is velocity. But let's not negate the 7 and 6. So I believe in one of Grand Thumb's videos, he was shooting both 7 and 6 and M855A1 at some ballistics gel targets, and the 7 and 6 was pretty gnarly. So again, this is never intended to be a armor piercing cartridge. The M855A1 is. So granted, there is like true armor piercing, which is black tip, and which I don't have. But anyway, this stuff has a void in the end, and this stuff performs very, very, very well on soft targets, regardless of barrel length. Brandon Herrera has a video where he was testing an AK-74, or basically an RPK-74, so 23.5 inch barrel with 7 and 6, and then tested a Krink, which is about an 8.1, and both of them were reliably tumbling out of both barrel lengths, which you will not see with 5.56. In fact, I believe in Grand Thumb's video, the M855A1 it was a little bit lackluster when it was hitting soft targets. So I wouldn't base my whole choice on what ammo I want to shoot or stockpile off of this. This is just, seeing what it will do on armor, or specifically steel. Because in Mogadishu, when those guys were shooting M855, that was about when that round came out. If you guys don't know what Mogadishu, what I'm talking about, Black Hawk Down. So they were shooting some pretty much malnourished Somalians that weren't wearing armor, and this ammunition was designed to go up against more of a modern military that were wearing armor. So this round out of this barrel was just basically zipping through those guys, leaving a 22 caliber hole. So that's part of the reason why that whole operation did not go quite so well. So again, that's another prime example of why, one type of ammunition isn't always the best for everything. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe, share possibly, and I hope to see you in the next video.